Damon Wayans, a name synonymous with comedic brilliance and sharp wit, recently unveiled a personal anecdote that transcended the realm of stand-up and sitcoms, delving into the intricate and often unpredictable landscape of the human heart. His candid revelation on Club Shay Shay, where he engaged in a wide-ranging conversation encompassing his experiences as a black man in Hollywood, his illustrious career trajectory, and the enduring legacy of the Wayans family, took an unexpected turn when the topic of his love life surfaced. In a moment that swiftly went viral, the star of My Wife and Kids recounted a rather peculiar romantic entanglement, his involvement with a woman who had previously dated his nephew. The disclosure, delivered with Wayans' characteristic blend of humor and nonchalance, left the host, Shannon Sharpe, visibly stunned, prompting a resounding, "Wait, what?" that echoed the sentiments of many who would later encounter the clip. The narrative, as pieced together from Wayans' account, clarified that there was no overlap in the relationships, no instance of him knowingly pursuing his nephew's current partner. However, the sheer fact that he developed a romantic connection with a former flame of a family member was enough to raise eyebrows and spark a flurry of online discussion. Wayans conveyed that his attraction to this unnamed woman was immediate and profound, hinting at a deep emotional connection that blossomed unexpectedly. Sharpe's reaction, a vehement "hell nah," underscored a widely held belief that former partners of family members should remain off-limits in the delicate ecosystem of familial relationships. In his attempt to provide context and perhaps mitigate the perceived awkwardness of the situation, Wayans emphasized that his nephew and the woman in question were not deeply in love at the time of their involvement. Furthermore, he asserted that he was unaware of her prior relationship with his nephew when they first met. This detail, while offering a degree of justification, did little to quell the intrigue surrounding the identity of this mystery woman and the dynamics of this unusual romantic intersection. Wayans also shed light on his personal circumstances at the time, noting that he had been single for a few years following his 1999 divorce from Lisa Thorner, his wife of 19 years. Despite their separation, the former couple reportedly maintained a close relationship. By the early 2000s, around 2001 or 2002, Wayans felt ready to explore new romantic possibilities. It was during this period that his path crossed with the woman in question, and the subsequent discovery of her connection to his nephew prompted him to take a rather considerate step, seeking his nephew's approval before pursuing a relationship. This act, while perhaps unconventional, suggests a level of respect for familial bonds amidst the pull of personal feelings. Despite the relative openness with which Wayans discussed this chapter of his life, he deliberately refrained from naming the woman who had captured his attention and shared a past with his nephew. This omission, while understandable from a privacy perspective, only served to intensify the curiosity of the public. The limited details he provided acted as breadcrumbs, leading to a wave of online sleuthing as fans and media outlets alike embarked on a quest to identify the woman who had seemingly stolen the heart of the beloved comedian and created such an unusual link within the Wayans family. The internet, ever a hotbed of speculation and amateur investigation, buzzed with theories and conjectures. Individuals began meticulously examining timelines of Wayans' life and career, cross-referencing them with known relationships of his various nephews. Question of whether this mystery woman was also involved in the entertainment industry became a focal point, as did any potential existing connections to the broader Wayans clan beyond the romantic link with the nephew. Social media platforms became virtual detective boards, with users sharing potential leads, analyzing old interviews and red carpet appearances, and attempting to piece together the puzzle of this unexpected romantic entanglement. The story quickly transcended mere celebrity gossip, offering a glimpse into the often complex interplay between fame, family, and personal relationships. It is a pertinent reminder that even those who occupy the bright glare of the public spotlight, the celebrities we see on screen and stage, lead lives that are often deeply personal and, at times, undeniably messy. Damon Wayans, despite his public persona as a purveyor of laughter and lightheartedness, is no exception to this fundamental truth. The notion that he could experience the profound vulnerability of falling in love, only to then confront the ethical and familial considerations arising from his beloved's past connection to his own family, reveals a dimension of the comedian that is rarely seen. His ability to find humor in the absurdities of life does not insulate him from its inherent complexities. In fact, it might be argued that his comedic sensibilities provide him with a unique lens through which to navigate these challenges, armed with the wisdom gained from experience and a sense of humility that acknowledges the limitations of human understanding. However, Wayans' narrative was not universally embraced without scrutiny. While some lauded his transparency and willingness to discuss a potentially sensitive topic, others voiced concerns about the ethical implications of dating a family member's ex, even with the supposed blessing of the nephew involved. Critics online argued that certain boundaries within families should remain sacrosanct, regardless of past relationship dynamics or individual feelings. Conversely, many applauded Wayans for his honesty and for shedding light on the unpredictable nature of love, a force that often disregards societal norms and familial expectations. Love, as the adage goes, knows no bounds, and its arrival is often unscripted, defying neat categorizations of what is considered appropriate or expected. Perhaps it is this very unpredictability that makes it both exhilarating and, at times, deeply unsettling. The emotional undercurrent of Wayans' revelation resonated with many, offering a more nuanced perspective than his usual comedic fare. He transitioned in that moment from being solely the deliverer of punchlines to a man reflecting on past choices, acknowledging the intricate web of emotions that accompanies them, and presenting his truth to a vast audience. Such vulnerability is a rare commodity, particularly for public figures who often cultivate carefully managed personas. In sharing this personal story, Wayans added a layer of depth to his public image, making him appear more relatable, more human in his experiences. The silence surrounding the mystery woman in this narrative is also noteworthy. She has not publicly addressed Wayans' comments, nor has any official confirmation of her identity or her perspective on the situation emerged from the Wayans family. This silence could be interpreted in various ways, as a sign of maturity and a desire to maintain privacy, as a mutual agreement between the involved parties to avoid further public scrutiny, or simply as a way to prevent the escalation of an already intensely discussed topic. The reality is that not every romantic entanglement concludes with complete clarity or a sense of definitive closure. Sometimes the most valuable outcome is the personal growth gained from the experience, the appreciation of the joy it brought, and the acceptance that not all aspects of life can be neatly explained or perfectly resolved. Damon Wayans' story inadvertently ignited broader conversations about fundamental human experiences, loyalty, the establishment and transgression of boundaries, and the possibility of forgiveness. Prompted questions that extend far beyond the realm of celebrity gossip and delve into the core of human relationships. Can someone be truly faulted for falling in love with someone who happens to have a past connection to their family? Does the absence of betrayal or malicious intent mitigate the perceived awkwardness or impropriety of such a situation? These are the types of questions that touch upon the very essence of how we navigate our interpersonal connections and how we come to terms with the complexities of our own pasts and the pasts of those we care about. The widespread interest in Wayans' story suggests that it resonated deeply with many because it tapped into these universal themes, reminding us that beneath the veneer of fame and fortune, celebrities grapple with the same fundamental human dilemmas as everyone else.